I might be weird, but anyway, it is what it is. I feel a little bad. I've been excited about uploading turkey videos and footage from past years and even this year. But anyway, I haven't really talked about much how-to stuff, and I try to include some of that in the videos, or at least show what I'm doing. But I'm gonna take a little lunch break here and talk about turkeys. So first off, I had a lot of people commenting on the last video I uploaded about the grunting or squealing like a pig in the woods, to fool a turkey and get close to them. It's not like I walk through the woods all the time, but if I'm roosting and I want to get real close to one, or one flies up over me and I have to sit there till dark, something like that, then anytime I know a bird can hear me in the leaves, I'm gonna sound like whatever animal is around. If you're in another state somewhere, that might not be a pig, but I'm gonna sound like something. It could just be a deer. I might blow, or I might do something. But if I'm hunting private and there's cows, I'll sound like a cow. I've done that. I've done that a bunch of times, even on public that borders private where there's cows. I'll just and walk right under turkeys. But I found if I try to do it, if I try to get under them without sounding like another animal, about 9 times out of 10, they either don't act right or I completely flush them out of the tree. So I'm gonna do something along those lines, be something. What turned me on to doing the hogs, I was driving, so I was over 16 years old, but I was hunting some public and had a bird henned up. He got on an old logging road, and they had clear cut that winter before, or whatever it was. So, it was low. There was grass about that tall maybe, but no other kind of vegetation for like 400 yards. And he got out there about 200 yards, and back then I wasn't filming anything. That all I cared about was shooting turkeys. But so I was sitting as close as I could get to him. I had crawled out there as close as I could get to him. I was in a little ditch, and he was just back and forth strutting, had hens with him. Well, like 6 hogs came out and just walked. They were traveling. They just go by about 50, 60 yards from him, and he looked at them and went back to doing what he's doing. Didn't pay them no mind. Well, I wonder if I could do that. So I got down on all fours and crawled just like I was a hog, wasn't stopping to look at the turkey or anything. Like I just kind of crawled. I didn't go straight at him. I just went beside him, and there was some bushes over there, and I just crawled like a hog and went right across. I don't know, 60 yards of just wide open, nothing between me and him, and got over there to the bushes and set up, and ended up shooting a bird at like 5 steps. But ever since then, I've done that hundreds of times now. But that kind of turned me on to the hog thing. And a turkey's not smart. Like, people give them way more credit than they deserve. They have good eyesight, but they don't have the brain to go with it. Look at gobblers running into decoys, and the decoys don't even look real. They're on a string, a stick spinning around. They're not smart creatures. So you can use different things to fool them, and fool them easily. As far as like locating birds that aren't gobbling, or you'll see, I know I haven't uploaded many videos yet, but you'll see in some videos, like, I pretty much always find a bird. It doesn't take me long to find a bird. There's times I can't. When they're not doing anything, I get bored with it. I can't do it. But as long as they're You know, if they're henned up and not gobbling, whatever, I can find them. But I'm just slipping, very similar to how I would be deer hunting. But it's way harder to slip up on a deer than it is a turkey. A turkey only has hearing and eyesight, and then their hearing, you can fool their hearing if you just sound like a turkey, sound like a deer, sound like a hog, sound like a cow, sound like anything else other than a human, and you're fooling their ears. So then all you have to worry about is eyesight. And I wear the leafy face mask. That makes, it's uncomfortable and it's hot, but it makes a huge difference if you're going to be moving while you're turkey hunting. Like if you're just set up by a tree, stationary, yeah, it doesn't matter. But if you're going to be mobile and moving, that I'll pretty much wear it all the time. But that face mask makes a huge difference, because I'll round corners sometimes, like not when I'm not hunting or whatever. Maybe I'm going from A to B, and I'll round a palmetto corner and there's a gobbler right there at full strut, you know, at 30, 40 yards, 50 yards. And I'll either freeze or just immediately, as soon as I see him, just fall down on the ground. And obviously he sees me, but 9 times out of 10, unless I move after he sees me, he never spooks. Like he may stand there for 25 minutes just staring, but if I don't move a muscle, eventually he'll go right back to doing what he was doing. And not that I want to kill him that way, I'm just saying they're not as smart as people give them credit for. Ghillie suits, I think is very important. You can get away with so much more when you don't have the human outline. If I'm walking, you know, if I'm trying to strike a bird, I'm still wearing my face mask 99% of the time, because I've had it more times than I can count. You know, I'm calling, trying to get one to gobble, whatever I'm doing, slipping, moving a few yards at a time, glass, especially in the swamp, because you get a different crack basically every step you take. So you're looking, you take a few steps, you're looking, and 99 times out of 100 I'm seeing them before they see me. Like I don't remember the last turkey I spooked. But that you never know when, if I called and one comes in silent to the call, like he just appears right there, bam, there he is at 50 yards. If I don't have my face mask on, then I'm trying, struggling or whatever. But if I'm completely decked out, then most time he don't see me and he's gonna do whatever he's doing. But it's a whole lot easier to get away with movement than people think it is. If we're talking about, like, say we get on henned up gobblers, or a henned up gobbler. He's not gonna come. Sometimes they'll come 10 yards or whatever if you're inside that bubble, but I'm always gonna try to be inside his bubble. And what I mean inside his bubble is right on the edge of shotgun range. Like if I can get closer, I will, obviously, but I want to be as close as I can possibly get. So if it's one turkey, that's easy. Get a tree on him. His only senses are hearing and seeing. So be quiet, get a tree on him, and move. If he comes out either side, just freeze, get a tree on him, move again. That may have to be on your belly, but if you're just wanting to kill a turkey and you're by yourself and you're not carrying a camera and all that, it's easy to move on them. But you're on a henned up bird, depending on the terrain. Like if you're in swamps, a lot of times they'll say the gobbler's roosted here and the hens are over here somewhere, where he's going to fly down and he has probably the same spot he goes to every day. Or when he's roosted here, he has this spot he goes to. Or he's roosted here, he has this spot he goes to. But he's going to fly down and go to this spot and strut and gobble, and the hen's going to meet him there. Then he's going to follow the hen around. But the hen doesn't go from A to B, or what. It may be a loop, it may be figure eights, it may, she may feed this way 100 yards and then turn and go this way 200 yards. It's a lot of times there's no you don't know how to get in front of them because there's never a direction of travel. So you're constantly making moves, and then it's wrong. He turns, and you move and he turns. To me, that's what makes it fun. I keep the hawk call with me, so I'm not gonna constantly be blowing the hawk call. But if I'm making a move and I need him to gobble, like I can't move any more without knowing exactly where he is, and I can't see him. You know, I'm just gonna hit it. And most of the time he's gonna gobble, and then I know whether I can keep moving or if he's changed directions or anything like that, and I'm not having to call at him or wait on him to gobble and things like that. So, but sometimes I need to sound like a hen. So sometimes I know he can hear me in the leaves, so I'm sounding like another hen, and I'm coming around here, and a lot of times that'll get the hen he's with mad, and she'll eventually come. If it's a whole flock of turkeys, it gets a little complicated. As far as locating birds, like I love to roost. I don't care anything about shooting birds in the evenings. I liked it when season closed at 1 o'clock here in Florida. It's just too easy, really. I like them in the mornings off the roost, but I like to roost turkeys. So as far as locating them, I'll go in somewhere where I know they roost and just sit down and be quiet. And a lot of times I'll hear a hen yelp, or I'll hear something before fly up and move a little bit, get a little closer, whatever I think I need to do. But if not, I'm just gonna sit tight and not move. And you'd be surprised if you just sit quiet. I mean, you gotta know the terrain turkeys use. They're not going to be just everywhere, but if you figure out where they're roosting over water, turkeys love to roost over water. They're going to roost where they can see an open spot to pitch out. I mean, that may be a 10-foot opening, but he's going to fly up, and he's going to fly up from the same spot. Sorry. He's going to pitch down to the same spot he flies up from 9 times out of 10. Especially like swamp type terrain, a lot of public terrain around here. And you get up in hill country, Tennessee, places like that, that's not true at all, because they'll pitch up off a ridge top and then they could pitch out anywhere. But a lot of times around here they sneak in to where they're gonna fly up from, and they fly up and then they fly back down in the same spot. So if you see one leave the ground, 9 times out of 10 set up where you can shoot that spot, and that's where you're killing him in the morning. You don't have to make a call or anything. But roosted does not mean roasted. I'm gonna say we kill less than, as far as on the fly down, we kill less than 50% of the birds I roost. But I like to know where they're at and have a good starting point. So get in there well before light. If I'm getting real close, I'll sound like a hog, or whatever. If it's crunchy and I'm making noise. If I'm not making noise, then I sound like nothing. I'm just silent getting in. I don't always. I pick a decent hide just to cover my silhouette. But I'm not always worried about picking the perfect setup and making the ground blind and all that stuff, because I'm probably only going to be sitting there till his feet leave the limb, and then I'm going somewhere. Like, I'm not worried about it. Most of the time I'm not sitting there calling after he flies down trying to pull him over there. If I didn't get him when he flies down, then I've got to move. But another thing I see all the time is guys setting up way too far back. So you don't have a bird roosted, you don't know where to go, you're going in at listening time, you're standing somewhere, and one gobbles and he's 300 yards. So you make a move and you get to 200, 150, and pick a good setup and start calling. I mean, 1 out of 50 times that works. And if that's the style of hunting, some people enjoy that style of hunting. If that's how you enjoy it, is calling them that far, then I'm all for it. But if your goal is to shoot a turkey, that's probably not the best method. But guys like that help my style of hunting, because they're sitting over there at 150, 200 yards making the turkey gobble, and I never have to call or anything because they're back there making him gobble, and I just keep on moving in and get inside his bubble, and then it's over. Before I ever make a call or anything, I'm gonna get as close as I possibly can, unless I know that he's gonna pitch out somewhere and go to a certain point, a certain place. And if he's gonna do that, then I'm either gonna be at that place if it's close enough to him, or I'm gonna cut him off between roost and the place he's gonna go. And I don't still hunt. I don't deer hunt turkeys. I don't sit around and wait on them to walk by me. Derek just walked in from scouting and roosting. Listening for turkeys, so he's gonna join me. That's a turkey killing fool right
here. I try to. At least the turkeys where I come from, they're a lot easier to kill than your turkeys. So you might be the turkey killing fool, but
he's a non-resident.
Yeah, you got it hard down here. I have to say the birds down here are definitely way tougher to hunt. Way tougher to hunt.
But anyway, what I was doing, like how I go about roosting turkeys.
Yeah.
And then like the following morning, how am I set up or not set up, but
right.
Be ready to move. So that's kind of where I left off when you walked in.
Being able to move is the key. I think so many people mess up because they get a turkey to gobble, and he might gobble 200 yards away at everything you say to him, but he's just going to sit there and blow around and strut and hang out with his hens, or he may not, but it's about being able to move to that turkey, like, what you know this, but like my thing is okay, in Mother Nature, the hen goes to the gobbler. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we can call birds to us, but it's like, let's try to simulate a little bit of Mother Nature,
if I'm calling to a bird, I'll call from the same setup, but
right.
Like not more than 10 minutes.
Right.
And not 10 minutes of non-stop calling, but I may call, and then 9 minutes later I call again or whatever. Yeah. And if he hadn't done something, I'm going.
Yeah. If he hadn't closed any distance.
Yeah, if he hasn't closed the distance, I'm moving. And then I'm not even calling until I get inside his bubble. And inside his bubble to me is right on the edge of shotgun range, if I can get in shotgun range, I'm gonna get in shotgun range and then get him. In a lot of places I hunt stick. So, I may be 25 yards from that bird, but I need him to move a little bit.
I don't know, where you took me the other day, if turkey would have come through at 25, 30 yards, you
wouldn't have shot him.
And he'd have been perfectly there doing his thing, but like, you'd have never been able to get a shot.
Yeah, it's thick. A lot of stuff's thick here compared to up there where you're at.
Yeah, it's more of a track meet up there. For sure. Yeah, I just the word you said, bubble. Like if you can get in a turkey's bubble, he's got no choice basically at that point.
Yeah, it takes his instincts away. It's comparable to the. I know we did it one time. That video will be coming out here sometime, but with the strutter decoy thing when we were up there. And,
that's my favorite.
It's comparable to that when you get that close to them because it takes their senses away. It's like they gotta do something. Yeah. They can't just stand there and take it. But what would you say, like, and you're probably better at this than I am. Like it's midday or it's late morning. You don't have a goblin bird located. And I know talk about your strategy for just because you're great at it. Like we'll be standing together. And you're like, I'm gonna go locate a bird, and you go in 10 minutes. You got one goblin. So,
what you want to look at is like what I try to look at is okay. You try to look at where the turkey's gonna be at that time of day. So like I go to the places that like if I know like a strut area. Okay, so like I know that there's turkeys, generally from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. going to be in this sometime in this area strutting, So I try to go and get around and slip up on them and make a sound, to get them to gobble. Because if he's just sitting there strutting mid morning, he's gonna hammer at you. And the main thing is just knowing where they're going to be. Because if you try to go to where they are, chances are it's not going to work out as good. So if you can try to get to where they're going to be going, slip up to, or where they're going to be moseying on through. Because turkeys, man, they're on their own schedule. Yeah, they're going to do their own thing.
But they do basically they do the same thing every day.
Yeah.
Depending on the phase of the season.
Mm-hmm. Right. It may be a 3 to 5 day window.
Right. They're for 3 days they do this thing. For 3 days they do this thing. So you got to know what the turkeys are doing.
That's
what
for
do you,
sure.
what would you say about the swamp type terrain here when we're locating them in like on the edges of sloughs? Because a lot of times they get down in the shade where it's cooler. The
Yeah.
sloughs are cooler, so they're down there in the shade.
It seems like they like to. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like your bird, like the swamp birds, it seems like they like to go down, be in the swamp,
Yeah.
and kind of do their thing in mid morning, and then they start to
And then
they come up,
Mhm.
and then they come up, but just kind of opposite. A lot of my birds, they fly down, and they'll go to the fields, and then they go mid morning. They'll go to the woods, you know.
Yeah, where
So
it's cooler or something.
yeah.
Yeah, it's about the opposite here. Yeah. Some will go to fields, but
Which is what I was struggling with, you know, like I've always struggled with here is, you know, the swamp birds. I mean, sometimes I just don't. It's hard for me to stay in the swamp, you know, till 11 a.m. But you gotta do it, you know.
yeah, that's a lot of times you don't see them even start to go to fields here till after 12. I mean, they will, but like especially early season, it's after 12, 1 o'clock, and then you'll start seeing them in the fields, and then they'll be in the fields from 1 to 4, or what I'm calling fields, open
Yeah,
areas, not
yeah.
not field like up in other states, but open areas, out of the cool shaded swamp.
I will say here, just from my experience, like you better roost you a bird. Like
It makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, a lot
And
easier.
I just talked about that a minute ago. Like roosted definitely does not mean roasted.
no,
Like I don't know. We probably kill less than 50%
Yeah.
of the roosted birds off the roost. You know, as soon as they fly down.
roosted just means you get to play ball for a
That's
little
it.
bit.
It just means you're in the game.
Yeah, you still gotta win
yeah,
it. You know, like they can do a lot of things. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. It just means you're having a good time. Is all it means.
Yeah, and something that, while my brain's just going on this, okay, and I'm sure a lot of people know this, but something that I struggled figuring out and not knowing, like, when I first started hunting, you know, turkeys and figuring out turkeys, you know, like, when I would get a bird gobbling on the roost, I would just, you know, keep calling to him. I mean, like, yeah, it's like, cool, he's just sitting there gobbling. I'm like, yeah, dude, he's hammering. And then all of a sudden, come fly down time, he goes like, but then he'll fly like the opposite way or something, or maybe he won't even fly down for like a longer period of time. And like what I realized is like, oh, back to the whole Mother Nature thing. Like he's just gonna sit up there and gobble, expecting the hen to come to him, and then I've had them to where they sit up in the tree longer,
Oh.
you know, and it's like just expecting me to just walk down to him, and it's like, so once you got him, you know, pique his interest a little bit, and then back off of him, and then he knows where you are.
Yeah, if you're going like if I'm setting up on a roosted bird, or if let me take that back. If I'm setting up on a bird that's still in the tree, whether I roosted him or not, like if I don't know where his feet left the ground, like here in the swamp, where they fly up from
Yeah.
is where they're gonna fly back down to.
Yeah,
So if I know where that is, then that's the one that's
yeah, because they know they didn't get
That-
ate there last night.
those birds are dead birds.
Right.
But if I don't, you know, if I was 100 yards away and just heard one fly up and gobble on a tree and I don't know where his feet left the ground, whatever, and I set up on that bird, I heard one that morning, I go set up on him. I'm gonna do a tree yelp, pretty much regardless, unless I know the bird is absolutely crazy and scared to death of a call and gonna just take off flying when somebody
Right.
calls.
Right.
And there are birds like that. But I'm gonna do some kind of tree yelp or fly down. I just want him to know I'm there, and that might, if he doesn't have a hen in the area, at least if he doesn't just come running to me, that'll make him hang out.
Right.
So he might fly down and go 100 yards over here, but he's gonna hang out and strut and gobble and wait for me to come to him, and that gives me time to crawl to him or whatever I need to do to make him move.
Perfect. Yeah, you know, and my favorite roost scenario would be a lot of times the hens will fly up, like let's just say like up in here, you know, those within a 40, 50 yard area right in here together. And then it seems like the gobbler would be, you know, 100, you know, maybe 200 yards away sometimes. And like the perfect scenario is if you can get in there, like if you got,
In between them.
yeah, roosted, if you can get in there in between. But if you give yourself, you know, 30 minutes or an hour before fly down, that way you got time to get in there and stumble and fall and stuff if you got to.
yeah.
But give it the calm down.
Like if right now they're flying down at 7:35 or something,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be set up by 6:35, 6:45 at the
And that's
latest.
the key. That's the key. Most people, you know, like, it seems to me, and I've done this, dude, I failed at this so many times. You get a bird, and then it's like, all right, I'm going to get in there. And it's like, you get in there 10 minutes before fly down time, and he's like, and something ain't happening. But if you can get in there and there's especially you. What's cool? I wish I had back home is what's cool. You got all these hogs running around at nighttime.
Yes.
So it's like just get in there. Like don't be so scared about it.
I already talked about that, making hog noises. If you're hunting private where there's cows, sound like a cow. You know, it's easy.
Yeah. I mean, like, dude, that's the beauty of these hogs. Is like, dude. Because the first year that I hunted Florida, like I was nervous about it, and then it's like now it's like, dude, I'll just crash up into a spot sometimes. You know, like
they're used to it.
You got to.
I blew one off the roost last year, going to another bird. I went and it was an hour before daylight, but I was just fast walking. I had to go probably 2 miles. It was a long walk, 2 miles probably. And I was just fast walking. I went through some water a little over my knees, and I was just sloshing through it or whatever. And it was real moonlight. I could see his beard and stuff when he was flying off. He flew the direction I was going. So I just kept on going and got in there and set up where I thought the birds I was going to should be. I hadn't heard them or anything. I just seen a track the day before, and I knew there should be some birds in there. I got in there and sat down by a tree, just waiting on gobbling time. Sure enough, it was about 150 yards. And then another one gobbled, and then another one gobbled, and I'm sure it was the same one that I'd flushed off the limb. I flew all the way down there, and ended up being I killed the one. I got it on video.
That's
but
awesome.
that was pretty wild. But if they see you or you're doing something stupid, you're definitely gonna blow them off the limb. But if you're just easing around, sounding like an animal, it doesn't matter. You can walk right under them. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've went into a spot blind, just sounding like a hog, and lean up against a tree, get comfortable, and owl hooting. He's right there. He's like, whoa, whoops. And then you gotta sit there froze for an hour waiting on him to fly down because you can't move.
Can't do no scrolling with that.
Yeah, and another thing is, don't be a ding dong and leave your phone on bright. Turn that screen all the way down. Yeah, and don't use a light. I don't use a light at all. So if I can't see, I'm feeling.
Yeah, so about 1st of February, start eating extra carrots. I think you say it at nighttime is the only thing I know.
Yeah, I've been to many a birds that I couldn't see my next step, and I'm just barely moving and feeling and hitting the tree, and I'll fall sometimes because it's so dark in that swamp that I'll lose my bearings and you don't know up from down. You're like, I'll be sideways and have to catch myself.
Yeah, I thought it was rough climbing like mountains where I'm hunting all the time, but like him, dude, I just been walking and like the water would just kind of get deeper sometimes, and I'm just like, oh, man, this is really what we gotta do. And then next thing you know, he'll gobble right there, and it's like, all right, that's where he said he was. He wasn't lying. So no, that's really cool, man. You got some hard hunt, but you got it going on, dude. You got them figured out. That's for sure. You definitely know where to go.
What else you think we could add?
Man, just don't. Another thing, just the only thing I can say is a tip that I like to keep to myself, but it's just don't be scared. Like.
What do you mean by be scared? Don't be scared of the terrain, or
don't be scared of you can be scared of the swamp. That's okay. Don't be scared of making a move. You know,
be overconfident.
Yeah, dude.
Always,
I mean, look.
Always be overconfident.
The worst thing that's happening is he's gonna see you and fly away.
Go get another one.
You'll get another one.
No, that's. I'm talking north zone Florida. If you're in the Everglades, I'm gonna try not to spook one because you might go 6 miles before you find another one, and that sucks.
Yeah, you might want to go to the Everglades. Yeah. You definitely want to.
I'm gonna be a little more cautious when I'm in the Everglades because I don't want to spook that bird. It's aggravating. They don't gobble as good a lot of times, and there's just not as many. I think there's a lot of predators, but
like one thing that's just always the more turkeys that I fail on and don't kill, it's because I look back and I'm like, well, dude, he hung up at 70 yards. It's like if I'd have just made a 20 yard, 30 yard even gap closer.
Get that clump of bushes.
Yeah, he would have committed. You know. Yeah.
And sometimes that's not going straight at him. You know, if the bird's over here and there's no cover here, you might have to go over here and then come in. Yeah. You know, it's not just going straight at him.
Yeah, tactical is definitely.
Yeah, tactical. There you go.
That's the way to come.
But being overconfident and I mean that sounds stupid, but being overconfident is a lot.
Yeah, because
I
think their brain's only that big.
If you ever, if you ever think you should move, you should have already moved.
Exactly.
Like move.
A lot of times when I got a bird and I just yelp and he hammers, let's say he's 70 yards, 60 yards, and there's still cover, a lot of cover. It's like I'll fight and I'll be like, yeah, I want to sit here, but then I'll just go ahead and commit like another 15, 20 yards. That way, like.
I'm gonna take every last move up in.
Yeah, you can. I mean, that way, because even if he decides to hang up, at least he's gonna hang up at 35 or 40, and he's gonna be in your gun barrel range instead of hanging up out at 50, 60 where you can't see him. Because they're gonna do that. I mean, they're sitting there expecting, okay, well, where's she at? She's not coming to me. I don't see nothing, and then they're gonna, go the other way.
At the same time you're moving, be prepared for him to just decide to run to you or fly to you or whatever. So when you're moving, have that, be ready because you might come up and shoot.
Exactly.
I've had them fly and hit the ground.
That's the hard thing.
I mean, and hit the ground right here, 2 foot from me. And I'm like, oh crap.
That's the hard thing with these cameras.
I shot one. It was actually in Tennessee a few years ago. You know how they got them old in the crop fields. They got the irrigation ditches or whatever.
Yeah.
I was belly crawling down one of them irrigation ditches, and I stopped and instead I didn't have a locator call with me or anything. So I just kind of cut one time because I couldn't see him. I was down in the ditch. And he's about 100 yards right off the side of the ditch. So I just kept on going. Next thing I know, I took like 2 little crawls and he lands right here. I'm talking about, I think I had my single shot. I don't remember. But anyway, I came up with a gun like that and said, bah! One-handed shot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
Never aimed or nothing.
Those ditches are the way to do it there.
But sometimes they will just come to you.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, you get...
It's like when you get inside that bubble.
That's it. When you get in the bubble, the game changes.
Yeah, they kind of lose their senses.
I can't tell you how many turkeys that you'll probably call to at 200, 300 yards away, and you never know they're there, but they can hear you, but they're just not going to... I mean...
I talked about it a minute before you walked in, but here, hunting public here, you'll see 9 out of 10 guys set up at 150 yards.
Yeah.
And they're calling. Well, that bird over there just blah, blah. Guys like me and you are not having to call, not having to do anything, and then we're just getting in that bubble. And a little while later, these guys that are set up at 150 yards are just hearing boom, and they're walking out mad. So don't be that guy.
Yeah, don't be that guy.
Be us. Just get in there and get the bird.
The last thing I'm gonna do, if I yelp at a bird and he's 150 yards, I ain't saying.
Oh, no.
If he gobbles, I ain't saying not a word to him until I get at least into 75 yards of him.
Yeah.
And then I'll check him maybe.
Yeah, and a lot of time I talked about this a little bit a second ago, but a lot of times you see that hawk call I carry.
Yeah, that's
thing. It's more of getting the hawks going and keeping them going than it is. Most time I blow it once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do a three burst, just rock, 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 and most times that gets hawks going around me, and I don't have to hit it again for an hour.
I noticed that, like you said, then they're just blowing their own.
Then the hawks are just going and keeping him gobbling, and he, I never had to use a turkey call. It doesn't put him on edge at all.
Cause man, nobody. And maybe y'all like to do it. I'm not hating on it. But nobody likes to deer hunt a turkey. That's why they got deer season. It's turkey season.
It's like deer on the turkey.
I mean, more than 50, maybe 15, 20 minutes. Now I have been.
My max is about 10.
Yeah. I've done the whole stand up, and it's like. Pop, pop, pop. I mean, it was if I'd have just sat there a little long. I mean, I've messed them up.
But it takes the fun out of it for me.
It seems like here, the older I get, it's just like the more that I hear him, like and the closer I get to him before I make another sound, then it seems to just be the best. That's the best method.
No doubt.
So eat your Wheaties and do your walking in the summer and in the winter. So I guess I don't know. Pray and be able to move, and then other than that, you're good.
Yeah, don't take too much stuff. Like you'll see a lot of guys, they'll come walking by and they got their vest on with the seat on it and
it took me a while.
Decoys strapped all over them and all this crap. I mean, you don't need any of it. I can take a single mouth call. I'll take my hawk call in my pocket, and you see I keep my turkey calls in a snuff can in my front pocket. in case I have to ditch the vest. I have everything I need in my front left pocket. So my calls are in my front left pants pocket. And then really the only reason I wear a vest at all is for the camera stuff.
Yeah, for the camera stuff.
That's it.
Yeah.
So if I wasn't carrying camera stuff, I would never take a vest. But
basically what I know in turkey hunting is like I can't really tell you a whole lot what to do. I can just tell you what not to do, and what not to do is carry a bunch of stuff because I can't tell you how many times throughout my life of hunting it's like
you had to go back and find all your stuff.
Yeah. By the time I get done doing what I'm doing with the bird, it's like, wait a second. I dropped this here, I dropped that there, I'm going to put my vest back there. Wait. And so now I
almost lost my phone last year. I was going to a bird. It was the same thing. I didn't know where one was exactly, so I went in and listened, and I was on one side of the slough, and it was a deep slough, and he was on the other side, so he ain't coming across. And I said, well, I'm going to go to him, so I had to drop everything I had, and I left it sitting by a tree. And went across, and it was an open slough, so I had to crawl with my head up. So I got my gun and my head's above the water, and I get all the way across the whatever, and he was right there, and I could just see him, but couldn't get a shot. He was like 30 yards. Well, he kind of drifted away. I didn't call anymore or anything. He kind of drifted away from me. I said, well, before I call or anything like that, if I don't go back and get all my stuff, I'm never gonna find it again because now I don't have a phone or anything. So I think I left my gun, but I went back, got all my stuff, got back up there, and went like 10 yards farther, and I met him. He was like standing at like 10 feet behind a tree, and I spooked him. But
that's awesome. Yeah, man, I have lost more things and forgotten more things in the turkey woods than I ever cared to admit.
Yeah. Don't. If you don't absolutely need it, don't take it because you don't need it. A mouth call, a shell, a gun. That's about it.
And a good set of Nikes.
Yeah.
You need the tennis shoe game.
Yeah, that's another thing. Be quiet. You're not going to be quiet wearing a big old, whatever y'all call them, snake boot stuff. Whatever. You just can't do it. And then you're going to take your boots off and try to slip in your socks and lose your boots. So.
I remember the first time I hunted with him, he looked at me like I was crazy, and then I was looking at him like he was crazy. And I was like, because I was
who was crazy at the end of the day?
I mean,
you said, I ain't ever doing this again.
Yeah, because dude, I kept having to dig my boots, my rubber boots up out of the mud, and so it's like I spent more time. I think I just remember Derek just looking at me like, and I'm stuck in the mud again, And so it's like now I just try. Well, sometimes I still get stuck a little bit, but I don't walk on water like him. But that's the way to do it. Is what I've noticed down here in the swamp is you got to have your tennis shoes on at all times.
No doubt.
Yeah, but basically other than that, I'm still learning what to do, but what not to do is don't sit there and try to work a turkey at 150 or 200 yards away from you. Like, if you catch him on the right day, he might be feeling froggy enough, and he might just.
There's different phases of the season, like in different places. Like right now, we know one place where we can touch a call and they'll fly to us, and then right up the road they're all hemmed up, and
Yeah, and then other than that, man, you just gotta get out there and get.
You gotta love it too. Like we're sitting here talking about killing birds, but as much as we love killing birds, how many times do we call them in and then let them go? And it ain't about the killing. And here in Florida we're only allowed to shoot 2. So that would be day 2 of season if we wanted to tag out. That ain't no fun.
What's that? There's that one motivational dude I heard on a video one time. He's like, lions like to hunt. It's like it's about the hunt. It's like, and it is true, man. Like, don't get me wrong. I love like the wham bam, thank you, ma'am, and a turkey off the limb during the roost. But it's like at the end of the day, it's them birds that you got to put in some work and some miles after. Like, because then you can sit down and just be like, what it took to get you, sonny boy. Yeah. Like that. So that's the fun part for me, anyway.
Yeah, and I like them 2-year-olds that gobble their heads off, throwing up on themselves, and then come running in a lot of times, and that's fun. And people I take, a lot of times I'll try to get on them birds if they don't want a big trophy bird. I'll try to get on them birds just because it's so exciting.
Right.
But myself, I've shot enough 2-year-olds. I'd just soon shoot an old bird if I can.
Yeah, I haven't quite reached that level yet. I still rather shoot a turkey. But no, I know what you mean, man. Like, It is fun when you can work an old, like, there's a difference,
Oh,
dude.
yeah,
There's a
it is.
difference in
Oh.
working a 2-year-old turkey and a 3 and 4-year-old turkey.
No doubt.
I mean, a 2-year-old turkey is just a Jake with a full fan. You know, it's like they're stupid.
They're stupid.
So it's fun. But them old birds, man, it's like, what? In a year's time, you've learned that much? I wish I could learn that much in a year.
Yeah, them old ones they done seen everything a hunter can throw at them.
Everything.
Yeah, so you beat them, and not that they're any smarter. They've seen it all.
Yeah.
So you beat them, you feel a little bit more accomplished.
Especially the amount of hunters I've seen y'all yupping through, sounding like an orchestra of wild turkey, Osceola turkeys walking through. It's like they done heard it all. You know, it's like you can be a world national championship caller, and it ain't gonna matter.
It ain't gonna do you no good.
Not when you got that kind of stuff going on.
They've done seen it all.
Done it all. Done seen it all.
All right, I think that's gonna be a wrap on this one.
I think so. I'm gonna figure out how to taxidermy maybe.
All right, I hope y'all got something out of it.
Peace out.
We'll see you on the next one. Happy hunting.
Happy hunting.